want to introduce to you Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, LA. And let me introduce to you the next First Lady of the United States, Jane Sanders.
Hello, LA. My gosh, what an incredible crowd. Thank you. I'm here as a kind of a character witness for this character. As a wife of 31 years, as a co-worker for 38 years, I can attest that there is nobody that you could trust more, count on, and believe in than Bernie Sanders. I wanted to let you know the whole campaign is not me, us, but there are other people that are behind the scenes all the time that sustain Bernie and I. Two of our sons, Dave and Levy, are here today. Come on up and wave. And two of our daughters are not here today. But they will be on other trips. We have 7 grandchildren and our children's spouses. They all support us in every way, and I just wanted to let you know that. They would agree with me 100% that Bernie was our choice growing up, working together, being married and having a family, a blended family together. And he is my choice and their choice to be the next president of the United States, and I hope you agree.
Thank you all, and let me thank the folks who have gone before me. Let me thank the local natives for their music. Jesse and Joy, Young the Giants, Councilmember Mike Bonan, Councilmember Gil Cedillo, Assemblymember Reggie Byron Jones-Sawyer, Jennifer Epps Addison, Christina Livingston, and Anna Maria Achilia. And let me thank my old and dear friend, Dr. Cornel West. Let me thank Tim Robbins. And let me thank Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We kind of take it for granted, but Alexandria has been in Congress for less than 1 year. And in that 1 year, she has accomplished more than hundreds of members of Congress combined. She has spoken out against racism, sexism, homophobia. She has stood up for the working families of this country. Alexandria, thank you so much for your participation in this campaign. I don't have to tell anybody here that we are living in difficult and unprecedented time in American and world history. We have a president who is a pathological liar, who is running a corrupt administration, who is a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, and a religious bigot. Other than that, not so bad. That's a joke. Brothers and sisters, what our campaign is about is not only defeating Trump. Our campaign is about a political revolution. It is about transforming this country. It is about creating a government and an economy that works for all people and not just the 1%. As Alexandria mentioned, what we have right now in America is a corrupt political system. It is a system in which billionaires are buying elections. It is a system in which voter suppression is taking place every single day. Some of you may have noticed that just in the last week, you had Republicans trying to purge hundreds of thousands of voters in Wisconsin and Georgia. What our campaign is about, what our administration will be about, is one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And I am proud to tell you that as of this moment, our campaign has received more contributions from more people than any candidate in the history of the United States of America. We don't have a super PAC. We don't want a super PAC. We don't go to rich people's wine caves. This is a campaign of the working class of this country, by the working class, and for the working class. This is a campaign that will win, because while Trump wants to divide us up based on the color of our skin, or where we were born, or our religion, or our sexual orientation, our campaign and our administration is about bringing people together. Black and white, Latino, Asian American, Native Americans, we are coming together. And we are coming together around an agenda that works for working people, not billionaire campaign contributors. And what that agenda says is that if you work 40 hours a week in America, you should not live in poverty. And that is why we're going to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. We're going to have equal pay for equal work for women. And we are going to make it easier for workers to join unions. What this campaign understands is that a well-educated population is the future of America. And that is why we will implement universal, high-quality, affordable child care. That is why we will put billions into Title I low-income schools all across America. And that is why we understand that if we love the kids, we love our teachers. We don't want teachers with great experience leaving the profession because they got to work 2 or 3 jobs. We don't want teachers taking money out of their own pockets in order to buy school supplies. We're going to fund public education, and we're going to make sure that every teacher in America earns at least $60,000 a year. And I want young people, including those of you here today, to give serious thought about becoming teachers. There's no job more important. We desperately need you. And when we talk about education, that means that we will make public colleges and universities tuition-free. I grew up in a working-class family, and I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. And I want every person in this country, regardless of his or her income, to know that they will have the opportunity to go to college, to go to a trade school, and not worry about how to pay for that. "11 years ago, against my vote, Congress voted to bail out the crooks on Wall Street. 2 years ago, Trump and his friends gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to large corporations and the 1%. Well, if Congress can bend over backwards for the rich and the powerful, we can cancel all student debt in America. And we are going to do that through a modest tax on Wall Street speculation. The working families of this country bailed out the crooks on Wall Street. Now it's time for Wall Street to help the working families of this country. And I know you, are embarrassed that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. The current healthcare system is not only dysfunctional, it is extraordinarily cruel. We are spending twice as much per person on healthcare as do the people of any other country. And yet 87 million of our people are uninsured or underinsured. 30,000 die each year because they don't get to a doctor when they should. 500,000 people go bankrupt because of medically related bills. Think about that. 500,000 people going bankrupt for what crime? Because they were diagnosed and treated for cancer, for heart disease, for Alzheimer's. That is not a system we will retain in America. The function of a rational healthcare system is to guarantee quality care for all, not to make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies. So, brothers and sisters, the day is coming, and it's coming soon, where we will pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. No more premiums, no more co-payments, no more deductibles, no more out-of-pocket expenses, no more paying outrageous prices for prescription drugs. We are going to take on the greed and corruption of the drug companies and the insurance companies. We're going to take on Trump and the Republican Party. We're going to take on the Democratic establishment. And whether they like it or not, we are going to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. And I want to touch on an issue that is not just an American issue. It is a global issue, and you are all familiar with it. What the scientists are now telling us is they have underestimated the degree and severity and speed in which climate change is ravaging our country and the entire world. What they have told us is they underestimated the speed in which the polar ice caps are melting, and that the oceans are warming, and that the degree in which rising sea levels will inundate major cities in the United States and countries all over the world. They have told us we're going to see more terrible wildfires like you have experienced right here and are now taking place in Australia. We're going to see more extreme weather disturbances, which recently put Venice, Italy underwater as it did Houston, Texas. They are telling us that food production will go down because drought will limit the planting season for farmers. They are telling us that if we do not act, there will be around the world hundreds of millions of climate refugees, people who cannot stay in their homeland because there is no water, there is no land to grow their crops. Today we say to the fossil fuel industry, your short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. And I am proud to tell you that our campaign has introduced the most sweeping climate change proposal ever introduced by a candidate for federal offices. Now, my opponents and critics, they say, Bernie, you're proposing to spend a lot of money on climate, combating climate. And I say, what is the alternative? How much is too much when we're talking about saving the planet? So we have a proposal based on the principles of the Green New Deal. And that proposal basically says that we're going to move this country away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. But we have not just an American crisis, we've got a global crisis. And as President of the United States, my job will be to help lead people all over the world to make it clear that instead of spending almost $2 trillion a year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, that maybe we should pool our resources and combine them to fight against our common enemy, which is climate change. When we talk about a progressive agenda, together we will end a broken and racist criminal justice system. Unbelievably, today in America, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. And our job is to put our resources into education and jobs for our young people, not more jails and incarceration. Together, we are going to end cash bail in America. Together, we are going to end private prisons and detention centers. And together, once and for all, we are going to end the destructive war on drugs. We are going to legalize marijuana in every state in this country. We are going to expunge the records of those arrested for possession of marijuana. And when marijuana is legalized all across this country, we're not going to have a handful of corporations controlling the marijuana industry. We are going to have those people most hurt by the war on drugs, our brothers and sisters in the African American and Latino and Native American community. Help them get the businesses upway to make a profit for the legalization of marijuana. And brothers and sisters, we are sick and tired of Trump's demonization of the immigrant community. We are going to end the racism and the hatred. On my first day in office, we will undo, through executive order, all of the racist executive immigration laws promulgated by Trump. On our first day in office, we will reestablish the legal status of 1.8 million young people and their parents eligible for the DACA program. On our first day in office, we will develop and implement a humane border policy. Under our administration, federal agents will not be snatching babies from the arms of their mothers, nor will we be throwing children into cages. Our administration will push for and will succeed in implementing comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship for all the undocumented in this country. Our administration will develop gun policy based on the needs of the American people, not the NRA. Universal and expanded background checks, ending the gun show loophole, ending the so-called straw man provision, and doing what the American people want, and that is ending the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. You know, I'm a U.S. Senator, and I'm on the floor of the Senate, and I hear many of my conservative colleagues talk about their desire for small government, for getting the government off the backs of the American people. Well, I say to those conservatives, stop the hypocrisy. If you want to get government off the backs of the American people, understand that it is women in this country who must control their own bodies, not politicians. So my promise to you is that I will never nominate anyone to the Supreme Court who is not 100% pro Roe v. Wade. What this campaign is ultimately about, and Alexandria made the point, it is about changing our national priorities. Instead of giving tax breaks to billionaires, instead of spending more on the military than the next 10 nations combined, we are going to address the needs of the working class of this country. We are going to take on the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality, where 3 people now own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Now, Nelson Mandela, one of the great heroes of our lifetime, he said something that was very succinct and very profound. And what he said is, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it happens." It always seems impossible until it happens. And this is a man who walked out of a jail in South Africa to become president of that country. But what Mandela was saying is that the establishment, the economic establishment, the political establishment, the media establishment tells us every single day not to dream big, not to have high expectations, not to believe that we can make fundamental changes in our society. But we know differently. We know that the history of change in America always takes place from the bottom on up. That is the history of the trade union movement. It is the history of the civil rights movement. It is the history of the women's movement. It is the history of the gay rights movement. It is the history of the environmental movement. And where we are right now in this pivotal moment in American and world history is a moment in which tens of millions of Americans from California to Vermont have got to look around them, stand up, and understand that the status quo just is not working. Don't tell me that when we stand together, we cannot create an economy that works for all, not just a few. Don't tell me that we cannot have the best public educational system in the whole damn world. Don't tell me that we cannot join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all as a right. Don't tell me that we cannot lead the world in transforming our energy system and creating millions of good-paying jobs as we combat climate change. Don't tell me that we cannot end a racist and broken criminal justice system. Don't tell me that we cannot have a sane and compassionate immigration system. Don't tell me that we cannot move aggressively to end gun violence in America. And don't tell me that we cannot protect a woman's right to control her own body. Brothers and sisters, I'm a United States Senator and I deal with the corporate elite every day. I deal with the greed of Wall Street and the insurance companies and the drug companies and the fossil fuel industry and the military industrial complex and the prison industrial. I know all these guys. They are powerful people. They have an endless, and I underline the word endless, amount of money. But at the end of the day, the 1% is 1%. And if we in the 99% stand together, if we don't allow Trump and his allies to divide us up based on the color of our skin or where we were born or our religion or our sexual orientation, if we stand together, if we have the courage to take on the greed and corruption of the corporate elite, if we are prepared to bring our friends and our family into the political struggle, if we have a vision of a just and humane society in front of us, brothers and sisters, when we stand together, when we fight together, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Thank you all very much.